Hey boys and girls of YouTube world, today the Duff Dog and I are going to show you what we do around here for snow removal and podunk at Mortske Worldwide, so let's get started. Duff doesn't get involved much in this. He has ridden in this thing a little bit, but it's really not for him. So this is my TL 619 Bobcat Telehandler. It's got a 5,500 pound lift capacity. The main reason I bought this for was for what we're going to show you here for snow removal, because we have such a large yard. Large yard. We got just about 7 acres out here, and probably half of it has to have the snow removed. This thing's got a 19-foot height that we can lift. So Chin was just here. We just fixed the outlet on the overhead door so we can lift things up real high. This thing will lift most cars, 5,500 pounds, so that's kind of the other reason I bought it. Being a Bobcat employee, we get a pretty sweet discount. Then I picked up this 10-foot Jenkins snow bucket. It's got cute little hooks I just noticed over here for either picking it up or pulling stuff out, so that's handy. And it's got these nice little holes cut in there so you can see, like I said, it's a 10-footer. When I was in town, the S650 skid steer, we had a 98-inch bucket, and that worked good enough there, but we needed some more snow pushing power. That thing only lifts probably 10, 12 feet in the air. I don't know the specs on that stuff. This thing, 19 feet in the air, so we can get the piles that much bigger, you know, so Duff and I can build snow forts and go sledding and whatnot down them when it gets the snow out of the way. It also goes just about 20 mile an hour. That thing's like 10 mile an hour, so it's twice as fast. It's got bigger tires, so it rides smoother. Sit up higher so you can see a little bit better. It's kind of hard to see the cutting edge, where with the Bobcat you can see it. And then it's a steering wheel and then a joystick for the lift and tilt. And so it's a lot easier on you at the end of the day. My skid steer doesn't have SJC controls because I just don't like them, because I don't put a ton of hours on that thing except for when I'm moving snow. So you're moving snow for, I think I got 8 hours on this thing in the last day just moving snow. We got about 8 to 10 inches of wet, heavy, nasty snow, and we got that much more again already, and it's still snowing, so I've just been trying to keep ahead of it so it's not so miserable. This thing's much nicer with the big wheels to ride in, and then the lights are awesome on it, and then also just having a steering wheel and a joystick, it's not so hard on me running the joysticks. This thing's got a 3.4 liter diesel engine in it. It's making 74.9 horsepower. The reason it's 74.9 is because 75 and over we gotta have DEF, so we don't have to mess with that. It's got a block heater. I keep it in the cold storage building, and we keep it plugged in ready to go because it takes up a lot of space in here, as you can tell. Anything else you want to tell him about it? He does ride in there sometimes below my feet, but when we're out doing stuff for a long time, he just doesn't care to ride in it, and I worry about him getting in the way, so we just kind of, he hangs out in the shop when I do that, don't you? You got her pretty rough, don't you, Duff? I keep it in just front steer. You can do four-wheel steer and crab steer and whatever you want to call it. I don't really like that. This thing does get a lot better traction because of the weight than the 650 skid steer does, so this thing's really good for moving snow. I was kind of on the fence because this thing was a pretty good chunk of change. I knew I wasn't going to move a ton of cars with it, but moving snow was where I was hoping it would excel, and it's pretty good. I don't know if a snow pusher would be better. Some people like them, some people don't. My yard is mostly gravel, so it's not level, and it can kind of wear on the snow pusher. And they're stupid money for what they are. Like, it's just a couple chunks of metal, and they're like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. A bucket's like $1,500, so whatever. Plus you can do other stuff in the bucket. So enough ranting and raving about this thing. I think I told you it doesn't have a radio in it, so I put my earbuds in because I'm too cheap. Didn't want to spend the money for that. Let's give you a tour of the operator station, I guess. It does have heat and air conditioning. Heater works really well. It's got a cup holder, kind of in an awkward spot down here. It's got a suspension seat in it. It's got the Brody knob. It's got a horn. Oh, you gotta have the key on. So obviously that's our steering, that's our joystick. That's how we can select between four-wheel steer, crab steer, all that stuff. Lift, tilt, and this extends our boom. We got high and low range. We got boom float. We got all kinds of other stuff that I don't know how to do. We got eco mode. Maybe we should try that. Strobe light, headlights, auxiliary, so we can put like a grapple. We got some pallet forks on order. We got some 6 foot long, 6 foot wide pallet forks that are hydraulic, so I can move them in and out. Regular pallet forks, I think, are 42 inch. Maybe they're 48 inch. But anyway, they don't reach across to the frame rail on the opposite side of a car. So these 6 footers are going to be nice. And then I can widen them and narrow them from inside the cab without having to get out. So that'll be nice. One thing I don't like about this is they don't have a power bob attach, is what Bobcat calls it. So you got to manually unhook attachments, where the skid steer has just a button you push, so you don't even have to get out of the cab to switch attachments. So that's kind of a pain. Looks like we threw a rock way up here. How the heck does that happen? We got all of our critical information right there. Fuel level, water temp, all that good stuff. Steering wheel tilts. It's got all kinds of mirrors. Mirrors. Wipers work really well. Yeah, this thing's pretty good. The other reason I got this thing is because it's difficult to lift things with the Bobcat and then to, to get out and do something, because with the loader arms in the air, you can't open the door. And if you take the door off, if you lift it all the way up, you can open the door, but it's kind of sketchy. You should want to do that, because if you blow hydraulic coils, boom, guillotine, you're dead. Whereas with the telehandler, I can lift stuff up in the air and I can swing out the side door. So say I want to take tires off a car. With that thing, I gotta lift it up in the air, and I gotta have the door off and go over the boom, get out, swap the tires off, or have Mojo or Chin or somebody help me. But a lot of times it's just me and Duff, and with no thumbs, you're not much help, are you, pal? But with this, I can lift a car up, or a corner of a car up, or whatever I gotta do, jump out the side door, grab the buzz gun, take the wheel off, put the new wheel on. A bada bing, a bada boom. So this thing does have a lot of advantages. Some of the disadvantages, it's heavy. I don't have a trailer that I can fit it on and or haul it. It does go twice as fast as that thing, so if I do need to drive it a couple miles, I can. Takes up a lot of space, and it's not as maneuverable. Skid steer, you can turn around on your own tracks. This thing, even with four-wheel steer, it takes a pretty big turning radius to turn around. And the visibility of the bucket cutting edge and then out the right-hand side is pretty terrible compared to that thing. So those are kind of the disadvantages, but for moving snow, she works pretty good. That being said, I'm gonna throw my earbuds in, crank up the tunes, we're gonna go outside, and hopefully there's some visibility. It's not good out there. All right, let's do this. Turn on our key. Oh yeah, I got HVAC controls. There's our strobe light. Oh, there's some, these are emergency flashers. We're going down the road. Guess I have to use that. It does have a reversing fan, so if you want to blow the crud off of the radiator, you can do that too. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
It's got wipers up there. Doesn't it have a wiper on the back? Oh yeah, we got the rear wiper. I haven't tried that out yet. All right, get our heater vents open. Keep our windows unfrogged. Oh yeah, forward and reverse little trigger switch up here. It's kind of neat.
How neat is that?
Let's do this. So yeah, that's what we do. Just push it across the yard and stack it up real high. Back up, listen to the beep beep boop boop, and do it over again. And again until you're sick of winter. So, stay tuned, check it out, or leave if you want to, I guess. Oh! We gotta get rid of that bump right there. She's a little rough. What the heck? All right, there you have it. The visibility is really poor right now, and it seems like it's better to move snow at night when you're using the headlights versus the way the sunlight hits all the snow. So usually what I do is kind of rough everything in with this guy, and then I'll take the skid steer because I got a little bit more control and it's easier to maneuver. And it's smaller with the 8-foot bucket versus the 10-foot bucket, and then I'll get up against the buildings and I'll do the driveway with that because you can turn around easier. It does a better job of back dragging than this thing does as well. And I like to back drag the driveway. It seems like that works best. And then I'll go out in front of the doors, the overhead doors and everything else, and hit them with the old scoop shovel, the old manual labor. So there you have it. It's kind of how we move snow around here. I'm sure everybody's going to suggest, oh, get a plow truck, get a, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. We talked about them earlier. The blade that goes on the front of the skid steer, or use a blower or whatever, but this is what works best for me, and I got the equipment to do it. I could put a blower on the skid steer. These things don't handle blowers very well, but the thing is, with the yard so wide that you got to blow it 9 times to get it over to where it needs to be, and then you get to a certain section of the yard, then blow it out. And that's kind of the reason I stack it back there, because that's the low spot in the yard. So you make these snow piles, if you got it in the center of the yard and that's the highest point, you're just going to have mud until June, because that snow is going to melt. So we push it back there, and it's a low spot, and it's going to be crappy and wet there for till August, but at least it's out of the way. And yeah, maybe a snowblower would work all right, especially if you had the wind out of the right direction, but you never know which way the wind is going to be here. It's going to blow every single day. That's just the nature of the beast out here in Podunk, North Dakota. But if you want to blow it all across the yard to the east, and the wind is out of the east, you're not going to be able to blow snow. This is what we got. It works pretty good. I got, like I said, 8 hours moving snow. That was probably half hour, 45 minutes. It's closer to an hour we're moving snow out there, and we just kind of put a dent in the accumulation. What are you doing, you window licker? Licking the snow off the bucket. You're a silly pup. I'd love to be doing something productive like working on a car, but unfortunately you gotta be moving snow once in a while so we can get the cars in and out. And that pretty much means we're done fetching up cars for the year, because with this much snow, you ain't getting into areas where the kind of garbage that we buy is going to be parked at. So thank you very much for watching. Check out the other videos. Think about getting yourself some Mortske merch. Get yourself something nice and warm, or get yourself a t-shirt if you're down in Florida or Texas or California enjoying the weather down there. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, so long as you're having fun. I do kind of enjoy moving snow the first few times, but then by the middle of February, I'm pretty well sick of it. What do you think, Duff? He don't care. You just like running around in the snow.